It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments received a free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
I'm almost at the stage and just right there. Thanks so much, Tony, for introducing me. This is Paul Finkelstein at omgtalk.com. Yeah, I am Mr. Medicare, representing Mr. and Mrs. Medicare. You only have a few more days left until December 7th to enroll in Medicare. So if you do need help and you need a free book just to get a little information, and there's not a lot of time, so just call my wife directly, Sarah, at 561 302 5760. That's 561 302 5760. If you need help for Medicare, definitely call that number, 561 302 5760. Or you could download a copy of her free book at omgtalk.com. That's omgtalk.com. At the very top, just email the information over and we'll get the book right out to you. I bet you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Don't be Bruce. Well, I'll digress into that as well. And that's, don't be what my friend Bruce did. Don't do what my friend Bruce did on his first date, because, well, this is the big time secret, which is to boost your business with only just this one tip. But there's so much more tips. There's 3 more tips that you got to check out at omgtalk.com. But I will put myself on the stage if I can in a second. Technical. Here I am. Now you can see me. And here's the introduction. Actually, I should take myself off of the stage just for a second and give you a little quick introduction here. So Paul Finkelstein is a very popular name. There's over 50 Paul Finkelsteins on LinkedIn and the exact same first and last name. This Paul Finkelstein that you're about to hear for the next 7 to 10 minutes doesn't like to stay in the lines because he likes to think bigger than that. How about yourself? Do you think big also? Do you like participating in contests as well? Because we got a great business contest that started a week before Thanksgiving, going all the way through April 30 as well. So raise your hand or put something in the comments if you, that's how you raise your hand online, is just put something in the comments, drop a hello. Unless you are okay with the status quo, mediocrity, never getting a raise from your job or business ever, definitely not interested in entrepreneurship, you're going to find this talk to be extremely, very, very boring. But I invite you to have a big open mind and some new concepts in this short 5 or 10 minute talk by Paul Finkelstein. So dream big, Paul Finkelstein. Dream big, Paul Finkelstein. And now I will bring myself back up onto the stage. How are you today? Did you know that there's millions of people that want to have their own business? Millions of people want to have their own business, but they just don't have their own business. What are they afraid of? Maybe that's just it. They are afraid. But what do they want, though? What is the real reason why they might want their own business? Is it perhaps freedom? Is it freedom to think big because they want to think bigger than the boss? When I was about 13, my parents, they threw me a 13-year-old, I'll call it that, a 13-year-old party. When I was 13, I had a party. And there was a DJ there, and they played this game called Red Rover, send Johnny over. And on one side of the dance floor was a whole bunch of kids, and the other side of the dance floor was the other kids that were invited to my 13-year-old party. And we played this, and he said, Red Rover, send Johnny over. And all the kids from this side ran to this side of the dance floor. And I landed on top of the only person left. Of course, it was my party. And the last person to land on the other person's lap on the other side, both that person and you were the last person. You were out. And every round until there was 2 people left, the person landing on the lap and the person running across the room. So anyway, I had this great picture of me and my mom, who passed away in 2019. She lost her battle to ovarian cancer, and she was the one that I landed on her lap at the very beginning of it. I guess perhaps maybe they were faster friends on my list when I was 13. But why dream big? Let me tell you about some words that are curse words to amateur entrepreneurs. Mediocrity. What makes you think of mediocrity? How about this sound effect? The sound of somebody sleeping or completely bored. How about tired? Same noise, same sound effect as mediocrity. How about comfortable? The same sound as somebody sleeping or snoring. And then there's the word procrastination. I think that could be a different sound effect. Oh, putting you to sleep, right? Procrastination, lazy, nothing's happening with Mr. and Mrs. Procrastination there. And then there's the word work. That could be another 4-letter word to a amateur entrepreneur as well as effort. But why dream big? Perhaps maybe you would like to go on a trip like my wife and I did when we went on our honeymoon about 30 years ago to Athens, Greece, and we got a chance and a privilege to meet one of the friends that I went to school with in Rochester, New York. It was fantastic. But why dream big? It's different for everybody. Goals is different. Dreams are different. Have you ever heard someone say, I like my job. I love my job. I think that my job is so sexy. Said what? No one ever? I don't need or want to have a big raise. My job or my business. I make good money. What? What's that? What does that mean? How much is good money? If I hear another person say, I make good money, I think I should be extremely rich, because I've heard so many people over the years, decades, say good money. What is good money? Is that okay money? Is that extra money? And what's extra money? Do you know what your fund number is? Have you talked to your financial planner lately? Do you have any idea what your fund number is? Some financial companies call it a FIN number, a financial independence number. But I say, what's a fund number? If you don't know what your fund number is, how are you going to ever leave your job? Or do you want to even leave your job? But do you know that you're surrounded by millions of people who settled for something less? Did you know that 95% of your peers, by the time they got to 65, unfortunately, they're either dead, disabled, or broke. Dead, disabled, or broke. And 4% or 1% know their fund or their financial independence number. But why dream big? Do you have a dream of traveling the world in one of those 180-day cruises? Why learn the definition of success? I'm going to tell it to you, because this is one of my favorite definitions of success. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. I love it so much, I'm going to say it again. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream, but success looks different in the eyes of a 20-year-old than a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old. Success looks different for everybody. But right now, while you're sitting this, if you're stopped somewhere but not driving, grab a scratch piece of paper, grab a pad of paper, and draw a circle right in the middle of it, or at the top of it, or at the bottom of it. A little circle, a big circle, a medium-sized circle. How big is the circle that you drew? Now, in that circle, draw a dollar sign. I'll hold. You got the circle drawn? Did you put the dollar sign in it? Who has enough guts to take a picture of that and text me their circle to 561-302-0051? That's 561-302-0051. Text me your circle. I want to see how good your circles are. How good circle drawers you are. I want to see that circle. And that circle that you just drew, that's what's called your income circle. Your income circle. That's all the income you're ever going to make for the rest of your life. How do you feel about that? I don't care whether you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. I don't care. But draw another circle around your income circle. And between your income circle to your dream, your other circle, is actually called your dream circle. Now, have you ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki and his book called Cash Flow Quadrant? Here's where we're about to tie in that beginning story. Do you remember I told that story about Red Rover, send Johnny over? When the DJ sent over the kids and they ran across the dance floor, landed on the lap of the other person. I got out. My mom passed away, but I sat on her lap on that very last part, the very first part of that game. It was a dear memory to my heart. I have this 8x10 wonderful memory of my mom and playing that game, Red Rover, send Johnny over. Well, we're about to talk about the cash flow quadrant. And with the cash flow quadrant, there's 4 different quadrants that Robert Kiyosaki mentioned in his book called the cash flow quadrant. On the left side of the quadrant, there's an E for employee. And there's a self-employed or an SE. The right side of the quadrant is a business owner and an investor. And which side do you think most people are on? Well, if you think, obviously, to go with the statistic that I heard 30 years ago and still today, that 95% are dead, disabled, or broke by the time they get to 65, would you think that most people are actually on the E side and the self-employed side? Most people are not business owners and investors where they could walk away from their business and their business is making more money than them because their business is run by a system, not by employees. Yes, there are employees there, but there's a system in place for all kinds of contingencies. That's what you call a business owner. So which side would you rather be on? And, well, frankly, how do we walk somebody across the street from the left side to the right side? Reminds me of that game, Red Rover, send Johnny over. Come over from the employee side and run over to the business owner side. Go over from the self-employed side and run over to the business owner side or the investor side. Either way, you're running back and forth between the sides. Instead of when you're at work, there's actually people that go from home to work. And some of us today, because we now working remotely for the last 5 years, home to work doesn't look like you're in your car consuming gas, consuming lots of time, sitting in traffic. Home to work would be you with your socks on, sliding from your bedroom all the way across the house into the other bedroom there, or your kitchen table, and that's your work commute. Is it? I don't know. But sometimes going from employee or self-employed to business owner might feel like this. There's a lot of breathing. There's a lot of pushing. There's a lot of breathing. There's a lot of pushing. Kind of sounds like the sounds of stress. Or it's the sound of birthing. And there's pretty much a lot of challenges going from employee to business owner, from self-employed to investor, and all kinds of things because of lack of knowledge, because of all kinds of things that I'm about to bring up probably in the next few pages. So I should probably slow down just a little bit. Why dream big? Who helps an old lady cross the road? I'll tell you who's going to help an old lady cross the road. A nice person, a mentor, a coach, a gentleman, a nice, a mensch, a distinguished Toastmaster, a very kind person. But why dream big? Is it a bigger house that you would like? Is it a recreational vehicle that you would like? Is it more clothing, perhaps? Maybe it's an extra closet. Maybe it's an upgrade on your car. Maybe you're a 15 who don't care about these things, but maybe there's something that you do care. Maybe there's a charity that you do care. Who helps an employee or self-employed cross the road to wake up and be a business owner or entrepreneur or an investor? The other side of the cash flow quadrant. Similarly to who helps the old lady cross the road, a coach, a mentor, a kind person, an entrepreneur, or a business owner who was once an employee, because I heard that teaching by example is probably a good thing. But why dream big? Could you think of some dream right now that if today were the first day of the rest of your life, what would that dream look like for you? Why does it feel good to help someone? Why does it feel good to mentor someone? Why does it feel good to educate and help somebody become a bigger dreamer? Who will teach you if I don't? What will happen if you don't listen to me right now? Because you do remember that 95% of 100 people, by the time we get to 65, are dead, disabled, or broken. Only 4% and 1% are financially okay and extremely rich. Why dream big? Why don't people dream big? I'll tell you why. Here's some reasons right now. TikTok, TV, Netflix binge watching, other time zappers. There's only 168 hours a week in 45 years. Are you tired yet? from me speaking right. I'm tired just delivering this speech right now, but I think that there's some important messages in these pages and my words right now. So why dream big? Does sick precede tired for you in a couple of circumstances? Sick and tired of a boss, sick and tired of not getting a raise, unless you like good money, sick and tired of being broke, sick and tired of falling short of your dream, or sick and tired of your income circle not quite meeting up to your dream circle. So why dream big? Why don't more people do this? And here are the reasons why. Maybe you could relate to some of these. I'm sure I could, for sure. And it's always an ongoing process. You wait till you hear some of the book recommendations I have for you. Fear, lack of capital, lack of money, lack of knowledge, lack of education, lack of confidence, which Toastmasters can do for you. And that will help you go from job to entrepreneur. Confidence is a big one. Why dream big? Fear equals false evidence appearing real. You ever heard that? How about false evidence? Not false evidence, but forget everything and run. Fear. You've got to read some of these great books. Cash Flow Quadrant, we've been talking about for the last couple of minutes. Robert Kiyosaki wrote that. How to Be Rich by J. Paul Getty. Still an excellent book. Still love it. Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz. And Think and Go Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill. Why dream big? When you're ready to get your dream circle, you will dream extremely big. Your income circle is falling short of your dream circle and you want more. Then you're ready to dream big. Perhaps maybe dreaming big will improve your health a lot. Well, I gave this talk during Thanksgiving week, and now I'm giving it again post-Thanksgiving. And I'm going to give this talk every day, Monday through Friday, up until April, say, of 2026, all the way through December of 2026, called my Why Dream Big Talk. Now, if you want to stick around later, well, later isn't today because I don't believe I have any takers that at least RSVP'd within the last 24 hours, and I'm not aware of it. So you're welcome to text me. And I'll leave my number here as well again. And that's 561-302-0051. That's 561-302-0051. Because I have a definite plan that I like to go over for the right person, the right individual that resonated with some of these words as well. And let's develop a team to think big and to grow a big business together. Thanks so much for listening. I'm going to give Tony the last word. And here's a message to help all businesses out there. Don't do what my friend Bruce did on his first date. If you want to boost your business with only one tip, this is the one tip. And you can pick up that tip at the website you see on the screen at omgtalk.com. Here's the last word to Tony.
You have been listening to the OMG Podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG Podcast segment.